This last lesson for geometry is lesson 17C. It's called Applications of Area and Perimeter. So there's not a whole lot of new information because you've already gone through lessons that have reviewed or have taught you area and perimeter. So what I'm going to show you here is just some suggestions and strategies of how you can approach these application problems that you're going to do. So let's take a look at example 1 and we'll kind of talk through this here a little bit. So I have a yard that is 40 feet by 100 feet. Okay, so you'll notice in the problems that I've given you, I've kind of gave you a shape where you can actually do all the marking. So one thing you want to do when you have that information, you're going to put it on a picture. Okay, so I know this yard is rectangular, it's 40 by 100. Then you can go through and you need to know how to figure out what problems you're going to find the area for and what problems you're going to find the perimeter for. So a lot of applications deal with fence. So when it says right here, how much fence are you going to need? That is an indicator of perimeter. Okay, because fence is going to go around the outside edge of a shape, whether that shape is rectangular or triangular. So whenever you just want to go around an object, we're usually going to go perimeter, and on a rectangle, it's going to be to add those 4 sides, or there is a formula if you'd rather use the formula. And all you're going to do is add those together to get 280. And then one of the other important things in applications is to label. Okay, so perimeter is just labeling or measuring a straight measurements or straight lines. So that is just going to be plain old feet. Okay, so this first answer, it would take 280 feet to fence in my yard. The other part is how much area. Okay, and so grass seed, sod, tiles, flooring, carpet, those are all indicators of area. Okay, and so area on here is going to see how much is going to be covered up on my shape. Okay, so area for a rectangle is base times height. So 40 times 100 or 4,000. And whenever we're talking about area, we are talking a label of square units, in this case feet, so I'm going to label it square feet. Okay, so I just want you throughout the whole lesson to get consistent with labeling what you have there. Okay, so square feet would be, let me just redraw this here real quick, would be like how many squares would there be in a shape like this? Okay, so like this one has 4 by 4. I know it's not very accurate, but if I would count all these squares in here, then that would be 16 squares. Okay, and so that's how we're going to think through the same thing of area of this shape here. Then the last part of applications is might ask you something like, how much will it cost to buy fence and grass seed? Or how many cans of paint do I need to buy? Or how much carpeting do I need to buy? So we're just going to look through here. How much will it cost to buy these two? So it's important too that you kind of keep your things straight. So the fence is going to be $2 per foot. So $2 times, remember fencing is up here, 280 feet. So $2 times 280 feet is $560. So that's just for the fence around the yard. And then for grass, it's going to be $0.75 or otherwise 75 cents times how many feet am I going to need? I need 4,000 square feet. And when I multiply those together, I get $3,000. So what is the cost? It's going to be $560 plus the $3,000, $3,560. Okay, and that answers the question, what would the cost be? So you can see the math is not going to be difficult. It's usually just multiplying or adding, sometimes subtracting. But you just have to keep track of what you're calculating when you put it in the calculator. Let me show you another example. Number 2. I want to paint 2 walls that are both 12 feet long and 9 feet high. So you can see I've got my 2 walls here, 12 feet long and 9 feet high. So both of them are the same. Okay, and it's important to kind of read through that. There is a door on one of the walls that I don't want to paint. Okay, and it is 6 feet by 3 feet. So it doesn't matter which wall you're going to do. So I'm going to draw a door here, which is 6 by 3, and I'm not going to paint that. So that's going to be an area that I'm going to get rid of. If a can of paint covers 75 square feet, so here's kind of a clue. What am I going to be working with? Square feet is area. How many cans of paint do I need to buy to paint both walls twice? Okay, so that means both of these walls I'm going to paint twice. So let's figure out, first of all, what is the area of just a plain wall. Let's do this one here. So the area of this shape right here, length times width, is 12 times 9, or 108. So that's that area for this shape here. This one up here is going to start with 108, but I don't want the door. Okay, and the door is 6 times 3, which is 18. So the amount that I'm going to paint on this one is going to be 108 minus your 18, or 90 square feet. So on this first rectangle up here, this one, I'm going to paint 90 square feet. And on the second one down here, I'm going to paint 108 square feet. So if I'm going to paint it once, I'm going to paint it, or I'm going to need 198. So I might as well figure out what it would be twice before I figure out how much paint I'm going to need. So 198 times 2, okay, twice means times 2, is going to give me 396. So that's the area that I'm going to paint. And let's go back up here. A can of paint covers 75 square feet. So if I want to paint 396, I'm going to divide that by what 1 can would be, and that will tell me how many cans I'm going to need. So here's the thing about applications again. So when I divide that out, I get 5.28. Okay, so 5.28, I can't go into the store and say, hey, I need 0.28 cans. Okay, you can't buy a partial can like that. If I only bought 5, that's not going to be enough, because what am I going to do about this little piece out here? So almost always you're just going to round up that number, and in this case I would need 6 cans of paint. Okay, so a couple of things. You just got to take your time, make sure you're reading through the question. Okay, a lot of information are in these questions, and make sure like you show your work so that you know where your numbers are at and what they mean. So take your time, be consistent and efficient.